Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today I will be giving you guys some tips on how to sew straight lines. Now this is the most important part of sewing, but yet this could be the most difficult part if you don't actually, pay attention to what you're actually doing. So yeah, I'll give you guys some tips on how to sew straight lines for the most part. So before I get into all of them, the most important tip on sewing a straight line, you want to take your time. Just take your time, go slow, don't try to rush anything. So that's tip number one. So tip number two, when sewing straight lines is all these markers right here are for you to sew along. When you're sewing, you don't want to actually look at the needle. You do want to pay attention to the needle, but let me show you guys. So when you're loading up your machine, you want to make sure you pick one of these lines, one of these markers on your sewing machine, and you want to follow that line all the way until you're done. So you want to load up your machine, and then you want to put your presser foot down. You want to follow that line, not really looking at the needle. Yeah, you don't want to get your finger caught in there, but you want to make sure you're looking at these lines that's on your sewing machine to guide you. So with that, you just want to, and like I said, take your time. And once you do that, you probably can't see it because it's brown on brown, but you can see the little indication. But yeah, once you do that, you will have a straight line. Don't pay too much attention to the needle. You want to make sure you're following these guidelines on your sewing machine. So yeah, that's tip number two. Tip number three is you want to use old fabric. Like you can practice with old fabric. Like this is just a piece of scrap fabric. Keep sewing this as much as you can to practice. Keep sewing old fabric. Like you can tear down clothes and keep resewing them. So you want to practice on old fabric. So another tip is when you're sewing, you don't want your fabric to be all droopy and laying off the edge. You want to make sure you have a control of your fabric and you're pushing your fabric in with you, making sure your fabric is leveled with you or as close to your body as possible. You don't want it to be all on the ground like this. It's going to cause too many problems. I'm going to just leave it at that. So yeah, you want to make sure when you're sewing that your fabric is as close to your body as possible. Another tip when you're sewing, like I showed y'all in all these videos, you get tools that come with your sewing machine. You will get this tool right here. Now this is a seam guide. You'll get this tool with your sewing machine every time. So you will get this tool right here. If you don't know what this is a seam guide. And I'll show you guys how this works. You want to take this tool. Now every machine is different and it will be a different spot for every machine. So you will take this, and on this machine it's like a little glide thing. It's a little black little tab on the back that you slide it underneath. And it should look like that. I'm gonna zoom in for you guys. It should look like that once you press it in, and then once you press this down, it'll line up. It'll line up with any line on the machine that you need it to, making sure that the fabric doesn't go any. It stays straight. Making sure that the fabric stays straight when you're sewing. So now there are different versions of this. There are magnetic ones that you can attach on your sewing plate right here. That really makes it easier if you don't know how to work this thing. The last tip is sewing paper, sewing practice sheets. So these are from Singer. I just literally went on Google, typed up sewing practice sheets, and these came up. So these are pretty much just practice sheets, and it gives you a different design that you can practice on. So yeah, these are very simple. So guys, what you want to do is get your paper and load it onto your machine like you would do any other piece of fabric. I always start with the needle inside the fabric. That makes things way easier. So I just put the presser foot down, and I'll zoom in so you guys can see. I don't know how well you guys can see that. So, and then I'll put it over. And this is how it came out in the end. Now, I've been doing this, like, I've been practicing on my stuff as well. So I'm not perfect, but I've been practicing on this well, and it came out pretty good on this one. Just the one I just did. So, yeah. So yeah, guys, those are some tips on how to sew consistent straight lines. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Yeah, if you aren't already subscribed, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.